Okay, this is just for the private room only. It's a short one. Let's see what my definition of short will be. Max just heard me. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I want to get this for you because I've been holding out, about where it could fail and all that. You know how I play Columbo. I give people hints and I do the models. Max, leave Georgie alone. Georgie's cleaning is in his box doing a little cat litter thing, and Max is coming to investigate. So I play Columbo. I play stupid a lot, but I give clues like Columbo does. And I talked about how this piece at one of my videos has to talk about how it has to tuck in and then come behind the interface ring and come out. But in that video, that's the biggest clue I give to how you must know this failed. And so there's no ambiguity about this. I'm stating that it failed at the back first. At the back interface ring, where I've always said the interface ring, and at the rear. So this is this, and let me do an interface ring for you. Yeah, you know what? I might have to do 2 videos. So what I'm going to do is, at the end of this video, I'm going to talk a little bit longer so I'll delete that part and edit, so that way I can load it up twice, because YouTube can recognize if you're loading up the same video twice, and it will only load one. So I'll do the public one later, but and I'll do the edit. So I'll highlight this for you by circling it. And this is the interface ring, okay? So on interface IV, right? Yeah, that's phonetic. I'm having fun. Remember, it helps you remember. And I'm sorry, I should call it a segment. Forget that. Nix that, because it's referred to as a segment by the designer. So segment, okay? And there's a front segment. There's a segment in the front also. But looking at this, did you catch on yet? I've been talking about it. So this part has to squeeze in. This squeezes in first. It's the rear. It's if I could only do my fingers, you'd see me squeezing. If I could show you squeezing this in, crushing it inwards. How do I know that? Because I want you to squeeze the front. Let's do the front. All right. So let's do the segment. Let's just separate it. And let's do the hull. And just the front only. Now what happens if you squeeze this in? You squeeze it in. There's a moment where this wants to do like that. And also where initially it's a bend like that. All right, before failure. Let's just do it. You can pick one side. You don't have to pick 2 sides. You can pick one location rather. You don't have to pick that one. Ultimately, I think that's where it works anyway. It's a beginning. If you remember the 1/3 scale model, and I want you you can look up snap buckling. So what happens is it's pretty instantaneous. So now why this? If I crush this end in, right? So I'll do that. Now my hull, the pressure out here is all that PSI. It starts folding in it. It starts folding, crushing it, working its way down. All right. And it breaks itself free from the rear segment. It would break free. And we don't have that moment of where it shoves into the back of the vessel. Oh my gosh, you guys don't know what I just did. Oh, I just hurt myself. I pinched myself on my leg. Oh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Sometimes I don't know my own strength against myself. Whew. Subconscious, a little scratch and a little itch. And ooh, all right. So my grip force, my grip. So it would not go into the back segment. Now, this segment is reported, as I stated in the video. I don't know if I published it yet, or maybe I got it in Rumble. 2 bolts are still in place, so that's great to help you identify it. Now, let's go to the back end now, and let's go ahead and change the color on that. Let's squeeze this end in. All right, what happens if I squeeze that end in first? It fails. We see it pushes it in, it goes inside the ring, the segment. There's a segment here. It gets inside there. And the force of this is a driving action. Remember how I show it rotating out. So I'll do a model for that for you too. But you don't get, when it drives in, it pulls away, as I showed you that rotation at the top view. So I know we're doing the same drawing. Top view, it rotates like that. Pulling off of this section here, which would be somewhere about the section in the background. Let's clean that up. So here's the dome segment, and let's do this. That's the carbon fiber. We're looking at top view now. Don't look at a cutaway, but a top view. And the segment and carbon, this section here would be here. So one more time. This section here, the top view would be over here. Top view looking at the sub down, so we're in the sky. That's that spine across the back end. All right, helps you out with that. This to your left, let's change colors. So this rotates off, pulls away from here. This direction here, this segment and dome. Pulls off of this one side here. And this is the end of the carbon fiber. That's the edge. That's the end of it. It pulls off of it right there, and that gives you, and then it rotates. So it tells you that for it to pull off this side, opposing the side right here that we're looking at, literally, the opposing side, this side is the side that failed, that buckled, that failed first, and it snapped buckling. It ran itself all the way around the outside edge of this with the pressure, crushing it in and flexing it outwards. So fanning it out like you see in the background. Now I'll do a model. I'll make a cardboard model up or something of that nature to help you see this. Also to visualize it better. And that's that part of that rotation I talk about. We get the buckling there. We see the metal here. That's the opposing side. I think it says, oh, that says top rail. Top, rather. That says top. Let me zoom in on that. Yeah. So there's the, it's the top rail. That's the other rail. Oh, that's right. They laid it on the grass. I mean, on the ground there. I forgot they moved them aside. So our top rail got it now. So it pulls away. We don't identify this as buckled. This top rail is not showing it, but the other end of this is what was held onto the submersible. But I want you to keep. There's 3 holes here. There's 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to show you an image of that. That top. That's the rear, right? So that's where my the back of the sub would have fell off. That piece there. That section there. Let's just stay focused on that for a minute, for a moment rather. The damn thing's in the way. You believe that part of that drone image? So, and no uncertain terms, I'm saying that first folded at the back end here. That gave it where it made this funnel, this if you will, and the dome did come off and come sliding in to make that compressive force into there. But it's kind of weird where I show that that rotation. Well, before it does that rotation, it does drive down into here. I think it drives down to some degree because this is internal. But I also have the back end coming inside also, the back end having force. So it's not without merit that back end is also pushing in. But I still get this rotation because it's got to come off of here. It didn't just stay there. It has to come off, and it has to have something to drive, like a cylinder action, to drive those tanks, the green tank to compress it, to drive the green tank, the oxygen tank there, which was in the floor, to compress it. Now it says top right there. There's top again. So there's where the rear of the vessel I said fell off. I said just fell off. There's 3 connections there. 1, 2, 3 holes. Yeah, you can barely make them out. 1, 2, and 3. And that weld fitment is good to go. We have, so interesting here is this buckle, right? So at one point, there was a force there to some degree. It came in, a little bit to buckle that. This came all the way in there. So this piece here was up here. Yeah, it was up here. All right. So that's our piece there, and it's mounted like this. There's the block on the ring segment, and it's mounted like this. Let me get you that image so you can better visualize that. So here it is from the top view. All right, so that piece goes like that. And this piece comes the other direction and bolted. They both share the same Baltic holes. Both this long section here, which I talk about in the 4-hour video, I think. And then the one to the left that goes across the spine, the one that goes down the spine. I'll show you the what it looks like. I think I have the image of what it looks like over here, which would be mirrored over here. So this is that ring, I mean the segment right there. There's the welded section, and this would be the aft end. Correction. This is the, I gotta get my bearings again. This is the wow. I'm trying to remember this was the aft end or not. Nevertheless, you see the bolt connection. It goes this way, and then there's your 3 bolts there. They go through this block, and they get bolted on the other side. Nutted on the other side. Let me see. I should have 2 more images for you. One more left. Oh, and these little divots, they drive me crazy. I'm trying to figure what the hell was their intent. I thought maybe to relieve some stress on the metal. It's interesting, you know, how was it done? I do see it on the outside of the edge there too, also, which is here. I think there's one more image. Yeah, that's a much closer image of it. And, oh, okay. There's what you guys are watching, the little kitty there. This one's eating. That's one of them. Just one of the little strays. So right here at the back end, this is where, probably on this side, where it snap buckles, it comes in like that, all right? It does that, and then it chases it around to where the force, there's nothing countering it anymore once that starts going like that. And then this force over here can shove it into and tucks under the back end of the back segment, pushing into the dome with the driving cylinder, if you will, the front of the dome, the front segment and the dome as a driving force into there. So it came pretty close. This thing, you know, with that driving cylinder, it drove it down to where you see it's bent over. There was an elastic collision. Elastic is like a bouncing collision, if you will. It hit it so hard, it bounced it off and put it where it was. It wasn't an implosion where it pushed one ring to your left and then the other one to the right, because we need a force to bend the oxygen tanks, to bend it, crinkle it, shape it there. Now, you can try to pick on the carbon fiber doing that, folding it over and all that. I don't have it. I don't have that. Of course, the material scientist could go through every part microscopically until he finds that green, if at all, if he could find it on there, because it's been under that water and rinsed and washed, if you will. So, talking about the tank and tucking under and coming through the backside and all that, you see the tank has already been deformed. It's outside of the vessel at this point. So it's on the outside and it has that shape. So there's nothing that came later, like at this point, and then shaped it. It was shaped while it was still being compressed. And it got driven to the back, and that elastic collision, I think, and these two coming together, this rear segment and this back dome, coming together created an elastic collision that bounced the bolted connections off of the connection. There's a little divots, and that's the interface. That's the exterior ring of it. You can see it how it bent over. It bounced it together. Wow, it bent it pretty seriously. That's pretty bent up over there, a little right here. And it bounced, elastic collision like pool balls. Slammed it together. Interface ring was like pool balls. It broke the bolts. It popped the bolts on those, right? It popped the bolts, and this we're looking at how the forces are still elastically. It's going to bounce away, and as it bounced away, it still had a shock wave to come in again. Remember, not just one, but a shock wave. And I think the shock wave then gives us our resting state of what we're looking at. A couple of plunges, I guess. Imagine like plunging forces at 1, 2 shock waves times 3. They just had multiple shock waves, but each one reduced in psi, in pressure, overpressure. You know what hasn't slipped me is this up here. It might be the other tank, but yeah. Let me go to something else. Oh, you can see all the debris in there. All right, so it's a hell of a cluster of debris that's been pressed into it. All right, so this also possibly fold it down, maybe fold it in with with rotation. I talk about the end cap. I'm double dipping on the imagery now. How it came off of here and then rolled over, and it acted like a cylinder, and plus this acted like a cylinder also, a piston. And this carbon fiber was probably on the port, so it's the port, this is the top. Oh, so that's the bottom. So yeah, when I'm showing it like that, I guess I should be more focused on the bottom. And drove it in. Let's go. It's a very interesting bottom rear. Bottom rear. All right, and our top is the best position, except for it did have a time when it did push to some degree, and I'll show you that's based on the top rail being buckled. So if you guys remember when I did a video a long time ago on this, that's the interface ring or the segment inner ring, and it buckled. So initially it was round, first stage, so this is stage A and this is stage B, next process. And this, imagine a carbon fiber on the outer side of this. And you see where it presses in. It does that and folds this pretzel. Let me zoom in for you. It does that, and the test comes to an end then. This one doesn't have the ocean backing it up. If it did, it would continue ripping it around. But after that surge or whatever they used to create that pressure, ripping off this interface ring, the invert ring, you think they would caught on that it has an issue at the edges. That's a problem. And no, it didn't seem like that stuck in their little brains at all. I know that this is the carbon fiber version of it. This would have been Spencer Composites then. But this failure is the same mode, the snap buckling. So this is what snap buckling looks like. See it? Just like the interface ring. See it? Just like the pretzel, except for it did cross and broke there. So that's your hull. This is a fiberglass. It says composite. I think this one's fiberglass. This paper. And fiberglass. I'm trying to remember. I had this keyed up for some time. I just have been a while to get it to you. So this is a very old, I don't know, 70s or something like that. I think it is. And that's so it knows what it looks like, and it performed the same way. It shows that. So at the back end, this is how it fails, and I keep telling you guys why, because it's carbon fiber, and you guys tell me it's strong in tension. Right? So if we have a load here, and pretend like I have no load here, just load this up. Well, the fibers are it's on two sides. So here, that same load, just a point load, is being supported by two sides. This side and this side of the carbon fiber. Take a section of it, and you can see that so both sides, two sides of the load is being distributed by two sides. Just point loading. Think of that only. And now, think of that same point loading. I'm going to clean this up. Think of the same point loading at the edges. All right, here's a section here and a section here. Now point load this. As you can see, oh, I'm sorry, so point load the very edge. That's because that's where it would go out to the edge. Now when you point load it, there is nothing over here. Well, there is. It would be that ring to support it. But there's nothing to the right of it, or the right of our image here, to support it. There's nothing there. And so, to make up for nothing being there, you need a strong interface ring, that part that is snap buckled in this image here. This is actually showing a carbon fiber snap buckling. You have to translate that, extrapolate that out to be, well, if the ring was in the way, it would fold the ring over like that. So you're actually looking at, fiberglass buckling here, not the ring. But this is what it translates to. If it was a ring in the way, it would do the same thing. And the reason why is because the edge is the weakest part here in this system. In the middle, it's distributed. It's got a much more equal distribution through everything until you get to the edge, and then at the edge there is nothing. It doesn't have the advantage of the exterior side. So the edge is real soft to fold over. Think of a styrofoam cup in the middle. You can push it kind of so. But the same pressure on the outer, at the end of the styrofoam cup, not the solid end, but the open side. You can imagine how you can snap buckle that a styrofoam cup. You can create this snap buckling. So this is the literal image we have. So this ring would have been on the other side there, would have done that. And it would have worked its way around as this hull slid inward, shearing off that little lip. And as we zoom down, you saw the shear looks like that. It's very, very parallel. And the outer side is a brittle fracture. It's more brittle out here. I don't see any more of it, but this is the top rail I said. It had a moment where it buckled, and I would still need something to buckle it. If you just drove down, just drove in, but we just don't have that. There was some really unique, I would say, spring action going on here, perhaps. I could also pick on this segment and say the segment buckled the top rail of this. That maybe it came apart. The front dome and the segment acted, and they both did their own part in this failure, as far as doing little damage. And I don't mean little, but doing their part, their damage. And we have, what does he say here? Wait a minute. Yeah, top rail. So this top rail is buckled here. This one could be just the right here, because it came impact with the rear ring, the segment. But we still need this to have a driving force on it to do that. And so, I've got to have the ring. It is connected to the ring. So that's got to be the ring doing that. The segment, I call the ring. Changed up the interface ring to just calling it ring, huh? Guess I'm in for a penny, in for a pound with that one. So this segment is that way. Now, I showed you the image a moment ago with this top, with the way they bolt it. Now you can see it more clearly. That's a segment and the bolts times 3. I'm taking liberty by showing you 3 like that. They were in line. And you see they're not present. They were connected to this top rail here. And yet it got pulled in. That's amazing, isn't it? That's amazing because it had to get past the ring there. It's amazing stuff here, you know, they try to break down. It had to get past that. And that's an amazing feat on its own, you know, just thinking about it. The way this crushed in, pulled in. Now, I don't see any screws. Shout out to Zachary. Zachary, you thought maybe it was screws. I don't see any screws in his top rail. Any holes, because we never saw the top rail. I don't see any holes in it. It shows they screwed it to the hull or anything crazy like that. Let's go ahead and move on. So the other side is your snap. I'm going to draw right through this. Is your snap buckling. All right, and this side is a part that just drives inwards from the forces of the after this boa this bow, this loaded spring, this loaded compressive force is now able to push in, slide in. After this, does the snap buckling. After it does that, you show it in a 1/3 scale, and I showed it in the Lysol can model I made a long time ago, and the spiraling effect. But this one is like that, and the 1/3 model, and the same like that from the other fiberglass experiment done a million years ago. And let's move on. So this is the bottom, and the bottom's over here, indicated by that section there, and the 2 hole penetrations. And then we have that outer, the outer ring of the segment, the lip, and you can see it here. So now there was a slight bit of movement out there, where it swelled, if you will. It deformed a bit. And when it deformed a bit, as in deforming outwards, like you blew it up just a little bit, that's as far as it went right there. You're looking at as far as it went. And then a reversal happened. That's as far. So first it crushes in. The forces come in. It tries to implode outwards. That's the extent of the implosion outwards. You're looking at it. That there. And that gets your outer ring destroyed and put in that position. That's its resting point. That's literally how far it went on the external before the next charge came of the ocean, the rebound again, and collapsed it in again, fully in, and replaced, positioned. This is the outer, layer 5. Yeah, that's the outer section that came into the vessel. So probably snap buckling's behind here, like there maybe, probably right there. If I can visually see through this like an X-ray. And let me clean that up because people say I write too much over there. So let's clean that up. And then there's the how I push through into the back of the sub. So you morbid fucks out there, Stockton Rush is down here somewhere. He didn't get to go out. It's in there somewhere here. If he's back by the pilot seat, yeah, that's some morbid shit. Okay, so there are your bolts, your connections. All right, just debolt it. You know, decoupled, except for 2 of them didn't decouple down there. That's 2 of them that's still on there per the report. Oh, for you people water-wise, from these, they're very small holes. They're very small. It could take on water there. You'd have to show me why would the legs come off, that would also cause water to come in there once he drops the legs to surface, I'm thinking. Again, that's the bottom. It does not have the kickers on it, even for the back of the hull, back of the exterior of the hull that holds it. Not even presented here. So let's orient ourselves real quickly. That's the top. There's your shackle, so you can see it there. So the bottom is down. It's opposite of that. So the bottom is, here's one of the hole penetrations. So bottom is approximately there. And that's the bottom that slid in, so we have our snap buckling like that. And the bottom and the back of the vessel slides in after this does that at near the top. Remember, that's also where that metal is that's folded. That's this shows folded, but it's weird he's calling the top here, but we have the metal. I don't see the metal there. I don't see the metal there at all. So that's the top. I don't see that metal piece. That metal right here. Here's the top. I think there's another better image of that metal also. Yeah, right there. So that's the metal there. Okay. And that's a good indication too, showing it didn't drag through the sand. At least we don't identify dragging through sand. So that's, you know, just settle down real quick. All right. So that's the top. We're looking at, it says top. Why don't we see the metal? It's hidden per camera angle. Crazy, right? It's down, it's not in the air. So it is there. I don't know, did they pull it off in this image already? We'll have to look at that again. That's the top. I don't see our piece at all. It's back in the sand. Is it forward in the sand? Let's take a look at that again. I got to reverse, hindsight the image, backsight the image rather. All right, so that's down. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so the top in this position is showing it down towards the sand, and towards the sand here, the beach. But this image shows the top. Yeah, they moved it. There's no sand where that top is now. Let me think about that. Could he do that? Could he move the vessel? I'm trying to think, get oriented with the vessel, with the ROV. I'm gonna have to say this was moved. What do you guys think? What say ye? What say ye? Was this moved? I don't see that metal at all anymore. And now it looks like it's no longer. It looks like the other part's on the bottom now. The bottom is actually on the bottom at this point, on the sand, on the beach. And this shows the top. Here's the bottom here. So top's over here, closer to the base, to the beach, to the seabed. And there it is again. The top's closer to the seabed there. So there's the top again at the seabed. Oh yeah, and the top has this long material here. This one here, this long piece. So no, I'm thinking that this image, they rolled it. Oh, I don't see the long piece at all. Let's see, layers 4 and 5. This is really confusing. Here's layers 4 and 5. In this image, we have something presented further out towards us. We can't see it as 4 and 5, further than 4 and 5. Ah, fuck, it would show it. Now we don't see that white sticking out of past in this angle here. So, yeah, I'm going with they moved it. So this will be a good solid image with no movement perhaps. I'll have to look at the video again. I'll have to compare against the video, because now I realize that this is a corrupted image. I can't, if they move it, this means practically nothing to me. Because once they move it, it changes everything around a bit. Oh. Yeah. We can see the tank here. See the full tank? Well, you can see the tank, better section of the tank. And there's the tank there. But now you see how you can't see it. They pulled the segment off. See the segment? Well, that's weird. No, they didn't. That is weird. I can see the full tank. Hold on. Let's do it more. Let's shake that again. Now I can see the full tank. The problem is this top indicator is the segment. So it shows it outside the segment. This is also on the segment. It shows it outside the segment. Yeah, this is getting me a little pissy now. This is showing inside the segment. There's two bottles, so maybe I'm getting confused with two bottles. Hold on. Let's come here. There's two bottles. I got a better image down here though. This thing I wanted to see. Oh shit. Hold on, I thought I deleted the video. Hold on. This is what I wanted to see. This thing right here, that weird shape like that. That one had me. Okay, I got it. It's the dome. All right, it's a continuation of the dome. Let me move this out of the way a bit if I can. Hold on. I've got something you guys can't see. It's the my selection device. It's the dome. It goes around. I see it now. The shiny part. This little thing is part of the dome, and there's debris on top of it, between it and the segment. So the segment got put on like a wedding ring over top of this thing, and drove inwards. And this part drove the back hull outwards, and this became the force is more up top, as you can see, because we have two bolts left on this, as reported by NTSB. Two bolts are still there. And sorry if I said NIST a couple of times. I often get those two the two abbreviations mixed up in my brain palette. Well, at least I don't confuse them with OSHA. All right, hold on. Because you say all the letters, NTSB, and then I say NIST. Yeah, so I'm really crushing on this. The crushing means I have a really interest in it, a crush. Makes you wonder about that that outer section again. One more time on it with you guys. This is a very interesting piece. This one. So I'm with the other segment playing along a little differently there. Playing along because remember I got to separate the other segment from its hull, from the dome. I've done that a few times in my mind, but I'm refining it. This is an interesting image. So here's the top. The top is over here. Here's my top rail. This is the image they were able to get underneath of it pretty nicely here. This is the bottom. There's our top from this angle. So I get to see the back side of that top member. I see a little buckle there. And we know there's one down here somewhere a little bit. And it's in the sand now. So it was above the deck when this came down. I see he's looking at another buckle of a bit there. That's not our beginning. I want to show you his image that shows that they lay down right here. Yeah. It says showing the sigmoidal buckle as a yellow dashed line right here. This is they take the material and they lay it out. Okay, there it is there. keep track of that in your mind. Track that for yourself. All right. See the shape? It looks like it's the same as, because looking at their vessel, at the implosion. Yeah, I know. Sorry about the scroll here. I could pause it and do it, but I wanted you to be able to find it yourself. Page 20 of 55. You see it? There it is there. I'll move that away in a minute. Just bear with me. But this is the, I think right here is our beginning of our failure. The beginning, when you put that piece back in place. That's that snap buckling thing I talked about. It goes in like that, and the rest of it caves in, just collapses. And then this comes in as one larger piece, which we see here, the background here. Okay, so this is your side, your failure side. So your failure, here's your top orientation. I think this would be, so if I try to put this back in place, push these pieces back out to here. All right, that stays. This piece, they're so close to matching up. So I'm going to try to clock this. Let me see if I can go backwards. Give you a different color. So this piece here, I'm trying to put back in. There's a little bit of piece missing there. Let's see if we can do a different color. That would be there. Here's top. Well, that's bias as hell. That's bias. That's around the where the mounts are, where the thrusters are mounted, the upper thrusters. Yeah, this is from the side thruster to the upper the forward thrusters to the vertical to horizontal thrusters. Okay, so once again, this is your buckle, and that would have been the start of it. Now try to do the buckle like that. All right. Well, this is definitely the start when you see that, and I based that off of the one that they didn't let continue going through, that they stopped, the 1/3 scale model. It didn't continue its deformation because they didn't have enough reserve energy to keep it like the ocean has. It has plenty of reserve energy to keep this following through with the extra force of what would happen if you had more energy. You can keep compression going, and this is what would happen. It's what it would look like. So this fits back in there. Now it says what? Outer surface. Well, I guess, you can't point at it. It's image-wise, depth-wise, you can't show it, but the outer surface is out of our sight. The outer surface is. Hole D, hole piece D. Oh, they identify it. Hole piece D. Oh, that makes it easier. Sorry, guys. I thought I did something fancy there. It's already identified. It should be that piece there then. Let's see. Yeah. D, right there. So much for me thinking I tracked. That's why I'm telling you, this guy's going to be good. The guy that's, I think he's going to get it. But again, he had the ability to see the video and know they moved that piece over there. I don't have that ability to do that, to see the original video of all the work they did. We only have what they show us. So, I'm giving him a lot of praise, but if he was stuck where I am, could he come to my same conclusions with just the data like I have here? And there is in this one. And if he could, that's awesome. There's that white piece. It just seems now. I don't want to say they moved it, so I won't. I won't say that. Now let's think about that collision. What was that bottle? This is gonna be. Bottle might be aluminum, so this this little crease in there could be the carbon fiber even doing that. Bending it over like that, really, I might have to go with the ring. I don't know where the ring's located. Is the ring over here behind this thing? That'd be great. Then I could say it somehow the implosion elastic collided and put it in this position. Then I can have the segment, the ring, the front segment doing some action while the dome is coming in doing its plunger action. I think this is the end of the, let's see. So this is the, our end. I think it's the end. It's by the dome, where the dome was connected. So you're like, oh, but it's bent down there by there. Yeah. But we can't get all this material to close in at this section down here if we have it blowing out from the other end. If it would also crush and deform that more, but then you would also have it knowing that longer tube, if you will, the hull part has to go about 8 feet or 7 feet, let's say, to get back here. If you have this part failing first, this will start coming in. What makes this want to crush in? There's nothing. It's stable. If it's so far away, it makes this stable down here. If anything, it'd peel it like a banana, right, like that. And this would be coming this way too. And you get a peeled banana off. But in this case, we got the rear end folding inside. So that's why I have it at the rear end, at the rear, doing the snap buckling first. And you can see the profile, so it ramps from one end. So here's this. And when we're looking at this end, it's ramped from the aft. So the back section here would be this. And as it folds in, this goes like it buckles in. The snap buckling takes place. It buckles, it folds that in. We have the driving force here. Driving force here. This ring is very interesting. I don't know where it's located. I wish we had more videos of that. Let's move on. And remember, I talked about this rail, and this is it here. I think that's all of it. And it's at the end, and you see it's all crushed inwards back there, crushed inwards. So it's biased because it supports what I was saying about the whole thing. Now we have that that part I said where the collision happened and it came to rest. As you can see, it's folded over beyond where it was. So this piece here was up here. Where's the material that caused that? You know, where is it? It might be those shattered pieces in the background that we see here, but they're over here also. It could be those pieces there. As it comes in, banana peels out also a bit. So it also comes as it goes like that. Some of it banana peels out. Oh, and the great thing is we see over here the thrusters, and I'm being facetious. We see the thrusters. We see the cowl, the plastic, the cowling they brought up. We see all of the landing gear. We see it all right here. So we know that this is where it all took place at one spot only. I'm being facetious. Of course it didn't. This thing, they've had a long time. That Naugelay's lawyer from out of Texas, I believe it is, he can go ahead and have a field day with my video here. And, you know, all you got to do is present the data to a court that the jurors will come to the same conclusion, like you would be the jurors now. If you believe my conclusions I'm coming to, then you'd be on the jury saying, yep, I think that's true. I think they done had a little bit of problems down there. They had a torturous life the last few minutes. Naugelay was 70-something years old, and they think his life was worth $50 million or something, I think it is. You know, they base life on how much time you had left. You know, on that, it's based on age and also your job, what you were doing. If he was volunteering, wasn't making income, hey, well, if he had passive income, making it all through stocks, for example, that's money still making money. So how are they at a loss? You know, I'm not supporting, not suing OceanGate. I got no skin in the game on that one. But hey, nobody's sending me extra money. You think, you know they use my stuff, but do you think they send me money? I've got contacted by lawyers on many of my other projects I've done for you guys, and they are some cheap motherfuckers. They won't send you a fucking dime. They'll all try to get you for free, but they don't want to send money. You start talking money, all of a sudden, crickets. Oh, they talk money initially, how much, and then they don't want to discuss it anymore. And they realize they can why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? I'm publishing it. It's the fucking milk for free. They're not going to buy the cow. They're like, I got your story. I'll just get our guy now locally that's already on board to review your content, and he'll come to the same conclusion. I mean, literally, that happened with the New York building with the fire that was on it. That was a literal type thing. So why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? I'm just the fucking cow, milk, giving out free milk. Hey, but I really appreciate you guys helping taking care of the cats, the kitty cats. So that's not... You guys, I'm not sure if I would, how much I would still share, being that my content is shadow banned by YouTube. That is, if you go to search... well, man, who knows? Let's see how I'm doing right now. Remember, they got that new algorithm running. Let's see how I'm doing. So I just searched Titan Submersible, upper left. We're 1 month away down there. 1 month away, it says right here. 1 month. All right, let's go to the top of the page. So ABC News, CNN, okay. Next page, Scott Manley. Going down, Dr. Ing Ronald. That's it. Now, let's change the filters to update let's say anytime. We'll go with this week. Apply. And so they know my content. So yeah, I'm still being shadow banned. They know my content is about, because I said search Titan Submersible. So they know that, they know that my content is about the Titan Submersible because it showed up when I looked for Titan Submersible. All right, there I am there again. So they know it. They know it that I'm talking about that, but yet I don't come up on the searches for unless you refine it to like this week, and then they're like, oh well, we don't have you shadow banned for that type of filter. So that's some crazy stuff, isn't it? Okay, let's move on. So yes, I'm still shadow banned. So you guys are, you guys are the best of the West. So once again, I want you to look at this snap buckling, and you can see how it would wave like that. That's the contour you get. We saw it also in the 1/3 scale. Keep track of that. We see it in the 1/3 scale. So there's it coming around and like that, except for this this metal here. See it? See the way it went around here, and this one went back around there. So if we put it together, somewhere about there is where this one went a little south, and it went down a little further. Obviously, that carbon fiber there bent in pretty damn aggressively. Now the other ring is on the back here, so this one's still in place. The segment. This one down here is this one is not. So it had some rebound. So where it failed was here. And as you look at it, so that ring, that's the bottom part. I'll put that over here. All right, so let's come over here and look at it. And you observe. You observe what you see there. It looks like, it's amazing. It doesn't look like it came, it's at the edge. All right, and this was, it doesn't look like it picked that up. So now I'd put it more here. Sorry, this looks like more material is missing here. So that's probably where it did most of the action. I think it ejected ×2. It came off of the glued interface, the glued section here. And that's approximately 90%. Well, the other one was 90%, some of it. So it's opposed. So where this fails, the opposed section leaves what behind? glue. This is on a 1 scale model. So it leaves glue behind. So it gives you an idea, a bias. And remember, we have glue on the other side. It's opposite of this. But we're at the very end, not in the middle. We're not getting failure in the midsection. We're getting it at the interface rings. All right, it's the way it behaved. I did a video on this some time ago. Oh, this is a 55-minute video right now, so let me just wrap this up and say shout out to you. Thank you for all your love and kitty love. And I got George right next to me. Maybe I can get a camera on and let you see him. Let me see. So there's Georgie for you guys. Can't do anything. I don't want to turn the light on. Hey, George. He just knows it's me, not even flexing. Not even flexing. Hey, George. Hey, George. Hey, George. Yeah. Look what I can do. I can do his paws for him. Little masseuse. Spoil little boy. Spoil little daddy's boy. Yep, he's leaning right on me. I'm right here. He's got to be right with me. This is just so I can change this out frequently so they don't get hair balls. So I'll change the covers out on this frequently on everything. All the stuff he climbs on, it has some type of protection. And that's my beachy look on that one. All right, take care, guys. Love you, and thanks. I hope that video is helpful for you. I think this will obviously be public now. Bye. Oh, so don't send me any money again. No money to me. Any money you send goes to the cats. Stray cats also. Thank you. I had to look at this one more time before sorry for saying ending the video again. I had to look at this one more time to confirm that glue. And it says top here. And there's the glue. So opposite of that is the bottom again, just like the 1/3 scale. It's weird considering that's the top and that's the bottom on the 1/3 scale. That it's just so amazing that it's duplicated the problem at the bottom. Keep in mind the 1/3 scale is V1, version 1. I don't even know if they made a 1/3 scale on version 2. It also has a carbon fiber ends on it. It also was made in one section, one piece. Not, as I did a video on it, it wasn't really 1/3 scale for this V2. V2 used 5 layers to come to their end. I guess you can count the interface material between each one as a layer. So it would be used 5 plus 3. Let's see, 1 plus 4. The adhesive bond. They're supposed to help with the bonding between each layer. A film. It's also known as, described to us as. And it could be like a wax paper type thing that goes on there and it bonds and they heat it up and it activates the hell. Anyway, you just don't get the composite action, meaning it doesn't behave as one. It does until you put pressure on it. All right, so let me get that clear, that it does stay in contact until you put pressure on it. Then it doesn't. And remember, I did a video on this. Is a continuous arch. This is not a as Bart Kemper state, designed as a bridge, a single simply supported structure. All right, it's not that. This is a continuous arch. Bart Kemper is supposed to be their expert that's working for free, and he came down on me hard on one of the chats over there, and somebody told me about it. So I'm like, what? He's attacking me. All I did was openly attack the report. I didn't know who he was, but that guy went at me like I'm a sworn enemy. So it doesn't matter. He's allowed to do that if he wants to. That's his thing. But he did do a little deformation of me a little bit, a little deformation of character, talking about I'm supposed to hate women or something like that. That one's still a little touchy with me. It's publicly stated, and that might be some money for me. I might have to sue his ass. All right, so so it's an arch, but that out here, this surface out here is greater than the surface in the middle. So if you do the math, and it came to 6,600 total, 66,000, whatever. I forgot what I came up with. I actually did the math on it. let's say it came to 66,000 because I like the round number that I'm choosing for you. This surface is smaller in here, this circumference, than this one. And so the PSI, you change this to PSI times 5 times 6,000, 5,000 PSI, whatever it is. And that's your total PSI. And then inside here, you would say, well, that translates to the total PSI in here, small area, at a greater PSI. So this might, I think it's like 5,900 PSI. If it could make it to the bottom, all the way down into here, the stresses. If it can translate all the way there. But there's a neutral axis. It can't quite translate. It's getting eaten up with some of the multiple rings. But that damn, and the strain gauges, though, that's the data we'd want to see how much they're actually literally moving. Is more important than the ultrasound, if you will, the sound readings that we get. It's more important, the AE system, the audio emissions system. It's more important, the strain gauges will tell us how that force is making it into the inner surface, because they're mounted on this inner surface. They're mounted on this inner surface. So it will tell us how much, if it moves, if they're moving, it'll tell us that shit, the PSI out here, as you go down in depth, it will tell you on the strain gauges what's going on relating to that, going, oh, it's increasing. Now, not using the segment. They have it on the segments too, or I don't know if they're active. A couple of them were inactive, or 3 of them were inactive. They were inactive, if you will. The strain gauges are the most critical one, telling you how much. As you can see, PSI. At what point the strain gauges start registering as they go down. So they might register it at the depth of 3,000 feet. All of a sudden, strain gauges start giving us a reading. That whatever it is at that PSI, you can start saying, oh, shit. The forces are making it down to the inner ring. So what are we at? And you do the math. You say, okay, this is at this depth, 3,000, and we're getting movement here on the inner ring, the surface of it, because they're mounted to the surface. You're like, shit, it is reacting all the way through. So it hasn't really met its neutral axis yet. It's a gradation out here is this, and then it's a small movement here at, say, 3,000 feet. And then when they go to, say, 6,000 feet, all of a sudden the strain gauges read even more movement or more stress. And as you go down and down, then they stop. They max out. They stop reading stress. They max out at the bottom. Incidentally, I thought that was strange that they hit touchdown, that they actually hit the bottom. That's like jamming the legs up, wouldn't it? It's just, to me, that's just crazy risky. So then the strain gauges are the most important part to tell us how that force is translating. Audio emissions acoustic system, well, they've already given us our reading. So that's great. So going back to strain gauges again, after that terrible readings, the fracturing of it, the dive 80, whatever, dive 80 or 78, which I forget which numbers, they don't mean much to me besides, that they're no longer behaving the same. We should see an increased strain gauge activity after that, because it's no longer resisting the same. But if it looks like the strain gauges are reading the same afterwards, then you say, wow, that's very confusing data. You're like, the strain gauges are reading the same as they go straight on down all the time. Then you just say that, okay, well, the interface ring, the last layer, the 1 inch the first layer goes up, that it's getting a little bit of squeeze on it as it goes down, and it's reading the same thing repetitively. It's not very effective then. But the last dive, those strain gauges definitely read a lot, right? Because it crushed it in. All right, take care, guys. Love you. Bye. Strain gauges, shit. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm back again. All right, as soon as I try to leave this. So there's that top part. The top with the elongated hole there. Let's elongate it just a bit, like this part. Let me move that out of the way now. And there's your face bolting. And this is more so there's that Well, great. So they talked about sanding, etc., to get this everything smooth. Or there's a little wave there, bigger wave there. So they missed something there. You can see the profile of the grain, and it's not flat. But I don't have that as the issue. It's the design that they didn't have a big enough interface ring internal there to help with that critical shear zone. The tributary area took care of itself, but the edges where it shows in the 1/3 model, they needed to get the ends supported the ends. Everybody's looking in the middle. I get it. You want to look at the middle. It's not how it fails though. It's because the edges are weak, like the styrofoam cup thinking. You know the deal. You press the styrofoam cup at the open side, and it'll flex. You press it near the middle, it's a little less. As you work your way to that solid edge at the bottom of the cup, you can see your same amount of pressure doesn't do much. All right, let's put this to bed on this damn lens, the eye. That's a hell of a bevel, isn't it? You can see it like this. Think of it like that, and that's your glass. All right. Here's your opening. So all of this had to squeeze tight and get flushed down into this hole, as people think it came flying inside. It has to shear all of that off and to flush this in. It's not doing it. It's not a toilet bowl and you're flushing it down the toilet. It's not doing that. All right, so there's a lot of surface area here that it would have to radially squeeze in. So I just showed it like that dimensionally, but in reality you see it's radially all the way around. It would have to squeeze this equally all the way around to flush it into that hole, or you'd have to deflect it like that, and still it puts this part in compression. So you get deflection here, this part goes into compression, and it's a gradation. It would be gradation going up. So this is the outer layer, I think it is, and that's the one we see that's shoved inside, and to your left is the aft part that's shoved inside. It gets shoved off the edge and shoved in, and maybe up to there is where the segment is, the rear segment, and then your hull section back here. Part of it still comes out though and separates these two, separates the segment from the aft dome. Not this one. This piece is what you see. So it's very interesting that these wrinkles are still there. See them? Even though it's implosion, this is the rhino liner. It's still there. And there's the rhino liner that's been ripped off. Well, it's not there. I can't say there it is. It's not there. You can see it there also. It's ripped off. And it comes to a stop. It doesn't, go beyond. It's pretty amazing, I think. Pretty amazing. But these striations here tell you a lot what's going on too. Striations here, see how that's just sheared off. Fractured. So recall one of the videos, I don't know if you guys saw it yet or not, I said it looks like it's missing. And I still stick to that because I don't see this sticking out in the one. And these pieces, just because they're here, post hoc, ad hoc, oh fuck, I always forget how to do that. I just go post hoc, ad hoc. It's Latin. It's more than that. I always forget that. I always gotta Google it myself every damn time. Yet I use it a lot. It means just because one thing, you don't tie it immediately to the other. So just because you see this here, it doesn't mean that they unscrewed it and placed it here. This could have been found on the floor, down there, on the seabed. And why do they call it a bed? How about the sea floor? Why do I call it the seabed? How about the sea floor? And then this is where the bottom of the exterior of the hull had a bracket that came down and went like that. I think this is L-shaped, so this should be L-shaped. And then they bolt it this way into the framing here. Now, I think there might be one piece left on that frame. I think it would be, let's see, this side. Let's get this right, orientation-wise. Where's my, I can't tell. Yeah, is bolted. So it would be, yeah, this would be the side. And it'd be right there. And it looks like the stain marks, how it, whatever it came in contact with, how it, the witness marks. That's too big. It's too big, too wide. The frame is only probably like, you know, box tube like that. So this is outside where the L shape is, I think. This weld held up, you know, but the other welds didn't on the on here, because we should see the exterior where the legs connect on here. But that version, that bracket I'm always bitching about, it's not presented here. That's how I said the back end fell off. Not presented here at all. No bracket on either side of this. So this one, so that's the rear segment there, indicated with the hole penetrations. And this is your forward segment where the dome connects and where the hinges connect. We don't see the hinges here either. Or the front interface ring where the legs was. Hey, Max. Want to give a shout out, Max? Max, shout out. Max. Oh, too early in the morning for him. It's 2 a.m., I think, thereabouts. So as that snap buckling went from one end to the other, when it got down to this end, also it rolled it in. It rolled it in to shear off the entire internal interface ring. It sheared it 100% off. 100%. But there was a shock wave or something, after it sheared it off, this ring had so much force in it, it had a spiraling effect, I theorized, and it sheared the bolts. And it had some collisions that I could probably explain with, because this was curled much off. They pushed it into place here, but when it came out of off the vessel, the Polar Prince, it was much more skewed than that, unwound. And so that's my theory, is that that snap buckling put such a force in this that it gave it a spin. It gave it when it finally released it, that fucker went spinning. So snap buckling here, that made it from the rear end to the front, it takes out the entire inner ring. And as it releases it, it's such a load of release. Whew, and it did, just like the snap buckling, you see it start somewhere. Well, that, when it finally finishes its lap of there and releases it, there's a lot of energy stored inside this ring at that point, that it's got a segment. And when it releases it, it puts it in a spin. And I say a spin because it would help me to define why this is shaped the way it is. And, well, this is not how it was. It was, like I said, it was the other way. And it had so much of a spin that it ripped here. So it ripped here, and there was a time that it resisted, and it sheared it apart. So this will be elongation here and here. So it'll be stretched, if you will. And when that let go, then that gave it the curly Q along with the rotational spin, I think, that happened on it. Yeah, they put it back in place, so I can't really work for too much more than that. But there's another one too that indicates another end. And this is only connected here. And that's at the bottom. Yep, bottom. And then I guess it's got to be another connection for this. Maybe it's hiding out here somewhere. So opposite ends of each other. Opposite each other. Now the implosion also, the counter implosion, the shock wave, the counter shock wave. It's a literal force and a literal water source, in this case, a wave. Could have gotten this also taken off the outside. Not happy with that. I like my rotational spin because I got to get these bolts off, and that gives me some shearing action going on. So remember, this is as it says here, this is the first of 2 1/3 scale test articles manufactured from pre-preg carbon fiber at the retirement of the first Titan hull. So this is apparently they did oh right, but they only made it with one off. This 1/3 scale. They did, but they didn't do the. Yeah, this is confusing me now because that means that the place in Washington, not California, did this 1/3 scale, I would think, and they made it all in one shot. Did they use alternating layers in this 1/3 model? We know they did it in one shot per what they stated, and this also means that that machine being badass still created a wrinkle at about 120 degrees out from each other. I arbitrarily picked 120. But there's one at 180, opposite each other almost. Well, not quite. It's like there. And then, so there's 90. Oh, and there's a 45. So 90 and let's see, yep, 45. I said 120 degrees out, 135. About 135 degrees here. And then this one is less. This is 45 roughly. So why is it duplicating over there? And I don't know if that's one there or not. Right at the bottom of this page. Let me see. I don't know. So it looks like 3 at least. This one's very interesting, the most interesting, along with the ones to the left, because the way it's profiled, that it's a hell of a shift, and that would give us, an issue at the end. So if this is going to fail, I'd pick where it would snap buckle like that. This part would be the first part. And don't they say that? Don't they say that this is where they failed? They found it failed where they did the grinding or where they did the repair. So they knew that this had the defect. And this is odd because that's V1 at the bottom. Let's see. Image of the centerline dimensions of full scale. Titan hull trimmed end. Yeah, I remember this is V1 at the bottom and that's V2 at the top. Let's see. B. Image of the centerline delamination in the first full-scale Titan hull trimmed, and A circumferential cross-section and B longitudinal cross-section. Well, it says the first one. And as you can see, this is the trim pieces. This is the V1, all made in one shot. And there's V2, different companies. This is Spencer. And as Tony said, he wants to know why the manufacturer, Spencer, said it could happen. Why the hell did it fail? It was their design, right? So, yeah, I don't blame him on that. So remember, it says circumferential cross-section of the trimmed end piece, first full-scale Titan hull. First full scale. This is the full piece we're looking at. All right. And remember, the other one, you see that going on and sanding and all that. I'll start at the bottom of this image and look at the uniformity of those lines. They look pretty parallel all the way up. So the Spencer got them nice and tight. Look at it. But I don't think they, could get it to set fully. That it could set fully. Looks like they had a break there. That looks pretty clear, like a change of something. And then we got different variations in the glue, the epoxy. They're thicker. This one's definitely a different spread. A whole friggin' lot of epoxy. Look at that. Compared to the carbon fiber, considering the white part's epoxy, the lighter gray is epoxy. It went to shit. Low. What the fuck? I'll move it up to there. Look at that one. What the hell is that? what the hell is that? And then there's another one stands out, and then another one. So they said he did it all in one shot. Look at that. And then look at this. So you just put the camera, put your device away from you, from your eyes, and lean back, and you'll start seeing what stands out. These, this. Yeah, so. And this one's friggin' huge. So you think Tony could have caught that ahead of time and said, look, man, this is not uniform. This is, what the hell is this? They've got the real sample, so we're looking at it through a photograph. For, you know, we've got to leave open that there's black lines in there and that they just somehow, the camera is giving us an artifact that's kind of like that. I'm just leaving that open. I don't think it's an artifact like that. I think it's, I also don't think it's that much friggin' glue. That's just crazy, the amount of epoxy compared to the strands that they're not there. It's, how the hell would they even do that? They just decided to coat it, stop and coat, even though they said it was one shot. That's not making sense to me. So as you look at the, that's the top segment, and this is where a thruster would be up here roughly, and a thruster here. I think our buckle started here. Our snap buckling started there. Was able to fold the sides in, the ends in, and of course it's so fast it works its way down here. It does the same thing down here. It takes out the interface ring, an interface ring down there. At the end dome is also has a force of it coming in to bend those tanks, to get them way back. The tanks are up here when you first enter the door. It drives these tanks back to here, back to the rear of the vessel, and into it. A carbon fiber also is there that could also bend it. So as it's driving in, this carbon fiber down here by the tanks would also drive down. This damn interface, this segment, I want to know where it is. I visualize it's off to the left. Even though they didn't show anything there, I don't know why I want to put it to the left. I wish I knew exactly where the segment was, and I could map it better. So don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Don't hate me because I don't read the study. I think it's biased if I read it. A few people pointed out a few things I had to read, and I was like, shit. Because that's his opinion. I don't want to make it mine yet. I don't want to mimic him. I want to come to my own conclusion. If some of my conclusions match his, is great. But some of the things, like he said that there was a slight bend in the something like that. My man sent me a slight bend in the segment, and something to that effect. And I don't know where it is. I think my man sent me a screenshot. I think it was page 13. Was mostly remain attached. Hold on. Yeah, I'm telling you guys. I thought my man sent me a screenshot and it said page 13. I'm telling you, this guy's gonna nail it. Look at what I said earlier about the imprint. It says the adhesive contained an imprint, as he states, of the machined end of the carbon fiber composite hull near the outer surface, but near the inner. Wait a minute. Machined end of the carbon fiber composite hull near the outer surface, but near the inner surface. What? The adhesive contained an imprint of the machined end of the carbon fiber composite hull near the outer surface, but near the inner surface. I'm reading right here. Let me read that again. Maybe I'm trying to see if my comprehension is messed up. The adhesive contained an imprint of the machined end of the carbon, of the carbon fiber. Yeah, I'm going to the next line. I'm trying to see if my eyes, make sure I'm ready. That's why I did that, make sure I'm reading it correctly. The adhesive contained an imprint of the machined end of the carbon fiber composite hull near the outer surface, but near the inner surface. But near the inner surface, the adhesive surface had a rubbed appearance. Using, oh, rubbed appearance. So that would give me my rotation, my bias. Yeah, that rotational spin type thing. Using the data gathered from the trimmed end examination, the location of some of the layer interfaces were marked on the blah, 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 at the top. Okay. So wrinkle was observed with layer 4. Okay, he calls it wrinkle. I thought they called it something else. I refer to it as a wrinkle or buckle. Let me read this again, because my man said it was on, I thought he sent me an image of 13. Oh, let me just look at my damn cell phone. Hold on. So yeah, it was right in front of me here. I look at the cell phone. The forward and aft segments are shown in figure 43A and B respectively. The segments were slightly over. The segments were overlays. Let's do that. They weren't round anymore. So the segments. So that means that the glue worked. It was bonding, because for it to ovalize it, either that little interface ring, when it squeezes in, held, and the ovalization, how about that, is also where we're going to find our sigmoidal shape beginning from one end to the other. Remember, I showed it here, but then on the other end, I said it could graduate down. So the oval is also, he says, ovalized. He should think of the oval as more, that's a segmental type wave also in the oval shape. Just so he needs to find this, the mirrored image of that, like he's talked about the mirrored image here. So he understands imprinting down here somewhere. He says imprinted. Hold on, where it's look at the bottom again. Shit, where did I find it just now? Yeah, right there. So he understands imprinting. So he should also understand that ovalization is also going to be indicator of the off of the segments where the beginning of this sigmoidal failure started. Okay, so you need to put the rings back on. So that is an indicator of it. And that would also line up with the shear marks on it, on the ring, on the thing. It might look like, I'm exaggerating, but like that, there's probably going to be a spacing that's going to be larger here than here, where it's going to do its different shear action. See the wave? So it's going to be a different ramp up around the ring. It's going to be a different wave going right and left of the start of this. The start of it, where it starts to shear and make its way around. And that would be on both ends. And you can find it where it started using the segmental ends. Oh, so there it is right there, ovalization. Page 13 of 79. There you go, Max. Another one. There's Max, guys. You heard him in the background. That's Max. All right, I'm not ready for this report yet. I'm just trying to find the... I'm actually getting tired. It's 3 a.m. in the morning. I took a sleeping pill. I'm going to tap out now. And I'll just say that Max saying come to bed shit. So I got to go back and get you the another video. We'll compare the strain gauges on the dives. Not the AE stuff. We're just going to work with the strain gauges, and that will tell us what's going on the inside of the vessel, per depth, how much where it's moving the neutral axis. So here's strain gauge activity. All right, let's just do that. And then here's the outer part of the hull and relation to depth. So we'll say that strain gauge at 2,000, we'll put I'll correlate it to you. At 2,000, we see strain gauge moving a little bit. At 3,000, we see strain gauge indicating again. And we can graph it, and then watch it peak at the bottom of the ocean here, if you will, and then watch it climb back up and release itself where no strain gauge readings are reading. And we'll see if it clocks full circle. If it starts off at 2,000 here, strain gauge reading, does it also stop at 2,000 on the way up, strain gauge reading? And you say, wow, that's pretty symmetrical. And then look at the next dive graphing. And does it do the same? Does it consistently graph strain gauges consistently the same thing? Ideally, I want the strain gauges. Well, I'll take the one on the segment that tells me if the segment's being moved or not. But keep in mind the glue that to ovalize this thing, that means that interface ring had to be that strong when it ripped down, when it did that ovalization, if you will, this sigmoidal buckle of the carbon fiberglass in the experiment that I showed you, in the paper, that gave you the ovalization, and that would be nice to see, observe. Here we go. So this, I know it says inner here. It's the outer flange, and so each one did it different. This sheared like this, and this is more a brittle fracture. But you can see it's not much of a flange there. I know that's the shape you see there, and here it is here. All right. So apparently they have a curve like that as you climb in, and that's indicated, or looks like this. So the pressure, this is where the hull would go like that, and it would be pressing against the inner wall there, which obviously the stiffness is so great there that it shears it, and well, as he states, it overlies this ring here. So there's the inner ring there. So let's just do that to help you see it visually, the sigmoidal wave. And that's the same one you saw in the 1/3 scale I showed you. So it's the same one I show you here. Now it'd be nice to see if this overlies, but I think it could only stop because, again, not enough pressure like the ocean. It couldn't finish this ring off. Which is great because we get to see it, though. We get to see that mirrored sigmoidal deals. And we also get to see that it's the edge. It's the edge. It's not the center of the hull. It's the edges that fail and lack of support. You know. All right. Take care, guys. Love you. And don't forget to drink and drive when you go out drinking and driving. Yeah, I know. It's the best I can come up with a short notice. I like jokes. All right, and remember, if you can't be good, be the best bad you can be. Love you. Bye.